సో ఇప్పుడు అయితే జాబ్ ఇది రిస్క్ తీసుకుని యూ హ్యావ్ టు గో అనేసి మాస్టర్స్ అడ్మిషన్ వచ్చేసింది తీసుకున్నాం.
Yeah. So all along, what I did not realize is that all from my childhood until even my US master's degree and all that, my parents they did not express this to me, but they had this concern that I may not be very good at academics, which is evident, right? Mark compared to I was not very good.
Always
So indirectly their decisions, whatever that they're making, is with that in mind.
Starting,
okay. So వీడు సక్సెస్ఫుల్ అవ్వగలడా లేదా అన్న థాట్ అన్న కన్సర్న్ వాళ్ళకి ఉంది మైండ్ లో, బట్ దే didn't want to disappoint me, or they didn't want to say okay yeah you can't do it అన్న టైప్ అని అనలేదు ఎప్పుడు నా దగ్గర. సో ఇండైరెక్ట్ గా హింట్స్ ఇచ్చేవారు అనమాట ఇలాగా. ఇప్పుడు సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ మాస్టర్స్ కి వెళ్తాను నేను అని చెప్పంటే, ఓ మై గాడ్ మోహన్ ఇస్ గోయింగ్ టు గో టు మాస్టర్స్, వై, జాబ్ వచ్చింది కదా, వై డోంట్ వి టేక్ ఎ జాబ్,
ఇదైతే అది వెరీ రిస్కీ లే, నీకు అది అవ్వదేమో, ఇదైతే బ్యాలెన్స్డ్ గా నీకు సరిపోతుంది నీ కేపబిలిటీ అన్నట్టు వాళ్ళకి
థాట్ ఉంది అది. అండ్ ఐ న్యూ అబౌట్ దిస్, ఐ కేమ్ టు నో అబౌట్ దిస్ లేటర్. చెప్తాను నా పిహెచ్డి అయిపోయినా చెప్తాను నేను. అంటిల్ దెన్ they were not, they didn't express that out. They had this concern
of you, they didn't believe in you kind of, right?
Yeah.
That happened, right?
సో చేస్తున్నానని చెప్తే అనుకున్నారు కానీ ఎందుకు లేరా, వై డూ దిస్, వై డూ దాట్ అని అనేవారు కానీ నువ్వు చేయలేవు అని ఇప్పుడు అనలేదు. సో దే వర్ ఇండైరెక్ట్లీ టెలింగ్, గివింగ్ మీ హింట్స్. బట్ ఎట్ దిస్ పాయింట్ ఏంటంటే మాస్టర్స్కి వచ్చేటప్పుడు అయితే కనుక ఐ సెడ్ నో, ఐ వాంట్ టు గో డూ దిస్ అని చెప్పేసి వచ్చేసాను ఇక్కడికి. అండ్ దే వర్ ఓకే, బట్ బ్యాక్ ఇన్ దర్ మైండ్ దే వర్ థింకింగ్ ఓకే వాట్ ఇఫ్ హీ డజంట్ గెట్ ఫండింగ్. Of course, I was thinking the same too, because already first semester ki they already took a loan. What if second semester ki ela vastunda double sudden ga ravu kada, so you have to go back and get another loan somehow. So they didn't say this to me, but you know that is a big concern that they had.
How our time the education loans were also very difficult to get from banks. Yes. Now yeah. I heard it got a little easier at least. Those days, like relying on like taking a loan from banks is like extremely difficult, right? They need a lot of paperwork and the people that you know of the system or something. If not, you won't get funded from the bank.
Yeah, and my nanagaru, he's a very conservative person also.
He won't go and ask somebody, right, for anything. Yes, I know. My dad is also.
He would not go and ask somebody money kavali ani,
even kavali, help kavali ana.
Yeah, ishtam undadu, and that's how he raised us also. You know, never do that. And for him to even go to a bank and get a loan was also very difficult for him. So ఫస్ట్ టైం నా కోసం అని చెప్పేసి వెళ్ళి డబ్బులు తీసుకొని చేయడం అనేది ఇట్ వాస్ ఓవర్ హిస్ వాట్ హిస్ నార్మల్ థింగ్ ఇస్, రైట్? సో బట్ ఎనీవేస్ కేమ్ హియర్. సో నేను ఫస్ట్
it was a very stressful period for them, for you too, right? It was like yeah,
absolutely, yeah. సో ఇక్కడికి నేను ఐ హ్యాడ్
యూనివర్సిటీస్ ఎలాగా 3 or 4 యూనివర్సిటీస్ జస్ట్ ఫ్రెండ్స్ అందరూ అప్లై చేస్తుంటే అలా అప్లై చేసేవాళ్ళు కూడా, జస్ట్ అంటే మన సీనియర్స్.
యా సీనియర్స్ తో ఏం కాదు కానీ స్పెసిఫిక్ గా, బట్ వి జస్ట్ వెంట్ విత్ స్కోర్స్, జిఆర్ఈ స్కోర్స్, తర్వాత పర్సంటేజెస్ బట్టి ఓకే హియర్ ఆర్ ద యూనివర్సిటీస్ దట్ వి వాంట్ టు అప్లై. సో no one from our university came to these colleges that I applied.
Okay.
So నేను ఫస్ట్ నాకు I had
పేరేంటి ఆ కాలేజ్ పేరు?
సో యూనివర్సిటీ నేను అంటే నా మాస్టర్స్ అండ్ పిహెచ్డి are from University of Missouri, Columbia.
Yeah.
But that is not where I came first. That అక్కడ నాకు అడ్మిషన్ అక్కడ రాలేదు actually. So that was there, that was one option. But then University of Kansas
University of Kansas kocha first.
Yeah. So University of Kansas లో petroleum engineering ఉంది.
Okay.
So University of Kansas petroleum engineering was pretty good at that time.
Okay.
So on దానికి నేను మాస్టర్స్కి వచ్చాను. వచ్చిన తర్వాత ఒక ప్రొఫెసర్ I got in touch with the professor over there. Our professor within a few days he got a project and he offered me a full-time assistantship.
Okay.
Then things have changed there. So his wife, professor's wife, was a surgeon.
Okay.
And she got a job in University of Missouri, Columbia.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So it so happened that because of that, my professor has to
move to this University of
Missouri, and then I had a choice. Do you want to stay,
or you want to move with me?
Move along with him. This is all within 2 weeks or 3 weeks after I went to US. So it was a big decision.
All is happening within 2-3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, we are still getting used to things here, and then I had to make a decision if I have to stay back or move. The decision, I made a decision to just move along with my professor. But then there is no petroleum engineering course in University of Missouri.
University of Missouri, okay, there is no petroleum engineering.
Yeah, so obviously I have to change, and now I have to go into chemical engineering. So my professor ఏంటంటే తన బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ తన రీసెర్చ్ యూనివర్సిటీ ఆఫ్ కాన్సస్ లో ఉండేటప్పుడు he was working with engines, fuel engines, different types of renewable fuels. అప్పుడే ఇంకా వస్తున్నాయి అన్నమాట అప్పుడు that time 2001
early on, only in the academia they were just researching.
Yes, that was his focus at that time. అందులో నన్ను that is where I got into it, project loki.
You don't know anything, right? When you are applying, you just apply it based on just the university.
Yeah. So that is how. So that he had the collaboration with the University of Kansas, University of Kansas lo petroleum division to collaboration undedi because it was something related to fuels kada. So that same project he took along with him to University of Missouri. And because I was in that project, I also moved. So my first project was the master's project was about that. Renewable fuels law. We were making some additives to improve the combustion properties of diesel. So that is how I got into the renewable
world. So since you started, you were able to get. It's also like written, I guess, destiny or luck or whatever that is, right? Yeah. Within 1 week, you also made a connection who was able to give you funding and help you move, right?
Yeah.
To other place also into that field. Maybe he also need a good student too, right? So is he like an international professor, like an American professor? Okay.
Yeah, American professor. I'll tell about that also. That was also an interesting journey for me with that professor. So our task. So since this professor did not, it was not planned for him also, right? I mean,
for him also, yeah. He just has to took some decisions at that time. Okay.
Yeah. So the University of Missouri was not ready for him. Right. So there is no lab, nothing for this professor to come in and establish himself there. So my for the first 6 months, I should say 3 months to 6 months, my job was to build a lab.
Are you the only student for him? He's also maybe new, right? He is a professor.
Yeah. So we had 2 students. One was an American, Mike, and Kabay Undavad. He did his undergraduate research with the professor, and started his master's a little bit before, like 6 months, 1 year. So he had some experience. And I was
so new too. It's risky too for him too. He's new, and then new field. But he has an opening. He's establishing himself as a in academia, and then you were there. So
Yeah. No, so he,
So it's
this
like a
professor,
startup kind of a thing, right? You have to
yes,
build on your own. It's not like a well established like a lab where you have
yeah,
some
that's
advantages versus
yeah. So the professor is already established, and established. He was an associate professor.
Hmm.
So he was in academics before, but the move was new for him. So our task was to go and establish a lab
lab.
first.
This is a new research lab too, right? Yeah, for him.
Yeah, and think about us, right? I mean, coming out of Andhra University, how would you know anything about setting up a lab?
Nothing, right? And also in a different country, you have a lot of challenges to yeah, accustomed to this country, and then new things, right?
Yeah. So that
Huge
was also,
responsibility. Yes, it's an opportunity. Maybe you got to learn faster and
yeah,
quicker things
yeah. So
early on.
Mike and Abbai, he took me under his wing. Because he's already been working with this professor before.
Okay.
So he నేను introvert అంటే నాకంటే దారుణం అబ్బాయి.
Oh,
He never used a
it's
word.
not outgoing at all. Okay.
He's a man of very few words but action. I mean, he used to just work.
Work.
My
Okay.
job is to observe him all the time and try to help him wherever I can. But I've learned a
Just
lot.
an executor. He just does things and act on
Just
it.
move on. సో తన దగ్గర నాకు కొన్ని టాస్క్ ఇచ్చేవాడు, నేను చేయకపోతే తను చేసేసేవాడు వెంటనే. But that was a great learning, not good, great learning for me, because nothing was set up. So how we all went about establishing that lab while we have to continue to do our research. I mean, our research ante kuda first new kada manandarki. We have no idea how to do research అనేది తెలియదు. So సొంతగా వెళ్ళి ఆర్టికల్స్ చదవడం and doing experiments was new. And one side we had to establish a lab, other side we have to continue to do our research. So the first 6 months was extremely stressful. Being in a new country, అంతా దానికోసం నేర్చుకోవడం, plus a new lab where we don't have a lab. It was quite challenging for me.
It's a very challenging, task. And then
stressful moment.
sometimes, it just came to you early on itself too, right?
Yeah. And if things were set up already, it would have been much easier. Or if you had a lot of people whom you can watch or who can mentor you, a different thing. But definitely our time period, whatever the time period, that's 4 5 months or 6 months, there were several instances where I got homesick because of the stress, and was thinking I have
And
to go
also
back.
for you never stayed outside, right? You were always protected within the family and then people around you. And for you just to adjust away from home also might take time. But then in the different country completely, food also you have to adjust, right? Because you are so used to the homemade food all the time.
That's right. Yeah. So roommates, I never stayed with anyone. Roommates from different places. So it was stressful. So ఇంటికి ఫోన్ చేయాలి అంటే కొద్దిగా భయంగా ఉండేది అనమాట. ఇంటికి ఫోన్ చేసి I had to somehow not express myself.
Because వాళ్ళు టెన్షన్ అయిపోతారు, స్ట్రెస్
అవుతారు. And remember, they didn't want me to go.
So it's your choice.
కొద్దిగా ఈగో ఉంటది కదా మైండ్ లో, దట్ I should not say anything to them. So I have to fight it out on a thought process ఉండేది, which created even more stress. So because I didn't know whom to talk to, whom I could express myself. It was very lonely at that time. Friends ever లేరు పెద్దగా అప్పుడు. So
it's a cold climate, is it? How is it like?
Yeah, it is cold. It's almost, I mean, Iowa ki మేము ఉన్న ప్లేస్ కి ఒక 2.5 3 hours down south. That's all.
So it's like completely weather-wise too, right? It's completely switch from the hot climate to a completely cold place. Generally cold places are little like, even now it's depressing, right? At least in the winter, like unless you make yourself like active.
So that definitely showed up on my grades. ఇక్కడ ఫస్ట్ సెమిస్టర్ I didn't, అంటే
you have to take 4 core courses, right? First semester was really tough too in terms of courses.
Yeah, and కోర్సెస్ చేయాలి, తర్వాత రీసెర్చ్ చేయాలి, ల్యాబ్ ఎస్టాబ్లిష్ చేయాలి. So it was definitely stressful, and manaki we are not used to the education system here, how things work out,
yes,
right?
Yes, it takes
the assignment manaki iste India lo man enisal assignment submit chesam, probably never,
or like in the last minute, maybe once or twice we just get it done, right? Most of us.
Yeah, so ade style lo vellanu. So because of that I didn't do very good on my initial courses. So I ended up getting a couple of B's in my first. Then I realized, okay, it is not how it's all learning.
Learning. From the day one, it starts adding up, right? Here, everything counts, and it's not stressful in the end too if you just do it regularly, right? Yeah, it's a different system actually compared to us.
So my professor also. So coming to my professor, he was American professor, and he was workaholic.
He was workaholic, okay.
And that was also added to the stress. And he
expects you anytime to be available for him, right? 24/7, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. So patta paata ani ledu. So I'm paying you, you better come and
just do it. Yeah.
So that was also very stressful. So I still remember we used to have a group meetings untai kada. Okay, so he used to have a meeting on Friday and Monday.
Yeah, so you professors are type of, most of the professors, they are like that, I guess. They expect you to be there 24/7 regardless. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Even my professor used to have a group meeting Friday at 3 to 5, and then it goes to 6, where every other department people are like, at 3 o'clock we used to have a happy hour in the college. Generally everybody used to be there, like with the beers or like hanging around in the schools. We had to go to this group meeting, present, and then come up, talk. And even after 6, sometimes you have to stay because she used to stay, and then we have to talk and do it. So it's a little different culture too. Depends on the professor. There are no rules or restrictions, right? You just have to go. You have to do whatever they ask.
Yeah. So Monday, Friday morning untadi, tarata Monday morning untadi. Indirectly saying that you better work on the weekend.
Correct. So for Monday, okay. So you have a deadline on Monday again from Friday. Okay.
నాకు తెలిసేది కాదు అప్పుడు. అంటే ఇట్స్ ఓకే టు, ఇప్పుడు మైక్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఆ అబ్బాయి ఉన్నాడు కదా, చెప్పాను కదా, he used to say I don't have any results to present అనేసేవాడు. మనకేంటంటే బహుశా I don't know ఆ మెంటాలిటీ ఎలా ఉంటుందంటే, oh my god, I have to show him something అన్న టైప్ లో. సో వీకెండ్స్ వీక్ డేస్ సమానంగా వర్క్ చేసేవాళ్ళం కంటిన్యూస్ గా. సో సాటర్డే అయితే సాటర్డే మార్నింగ్ లేకడం, డిపార్ట్మెంట్కి వచ్చి వర్క్ చేసుకోవడం. సో దట్ ఈస్ హౌ ఆ వర్క్ కల్చర్ అలా అలవాటు అయిపోయింది బాగా. వర్క్ ఉండేది. నాట్ దట్ హీ, అంటే తను డైరెక్ట్ గా వర్క్ చేయకపోతే ఏమనేసేవాడు కాదు, కానీ బట్ మనకు ఆ మైండ్ సెట్ ఉండేది. ఓకే, ఐ హావ్ టు ప్రెజెంట్ సంథింగ్. సో I should give credit to both. I mean, both him and this Mike. Whatever I've learned is by force, probably, but I've definitely learned.
You learned very early on so many different things. Watching hands-on, like doing things.
Yes, absolutely. So master's degree.
So first semester tarvata inkoncham alvaatu ayipinda. Okay.
Yeah, it was okay. First semester tarvata baane alvaatu ayipindi. Tarvata I remember the following summer.
You stayed alone then all the time, masters?
లేదు ఇండియన్స్ ఉండేవారు బానే. అందరూ మెజారిటీ ఆఫ్ దెమ్ ఇన్ కంప్యూటర్ సైన్స్ అండ్ ఎలక్ట్రానిక్స్ కమ్యూనికేషన్ లో ఉండేవారు. నా రూమ్మేట్స్ అందరూ ఇండియన్సే. but not from chemical engineering, with different disciplines. But it was okay. So the following summer, we all meaning Sudhir, Nenu, Madhu, Kishore, few other people, we all drove. We went to Niagara Falls.
అప్పుడే వచ్చారా? ఓకే, ఫస్ట్ సెమిస్టర్ ఇలా అయిపోగానే ఫస్ట్ ఇయర్ లోనే.
ఫస్ట్ సెమిస్టర్ ఇది యాక్చువల్ సెకండ్ సెమిస్టర్ అయిన తర్వాత ఇది సమ్మర్
సెమిస్టర్ అయినాక. ఓకే.
సో సుధీర్ ఫ్లూ టు
కాంటాక్ట్ లో అయితే ఉన్నారు, వేరే వేరే యూనివర్సిటీస్ లో ఉన్నా కూడా జస్ట్ మాట్లాడుకుంటాం.
యా సో we drove basically, car rent chesi, we all drove. We met people in between and ended up going to Niagara Falls, and then came back.
Car నేర్చేసుకున్నారు eventually వచ్చిన few times కే అంటే.
Yeah, so Sudhir just got his license before that. I also gave my license exam, but I did not get my license. But then I had IDP అని ఉండేది ఒకటి, I don't know if you know, ఇంటర్నేషనల్ డ్రైవింగ్ పర్మిట్ అని చెప్పేసి.
పర్మిట్ ఇండియా నుంచి తెచ్చేసుకోవచ్చు కదా. valid for like 6 months or a year or something.
1 year ఉండేది. So using that, Sudhir and I were driving at that time. So we drove like about 3,000 miles or something like that overall, that trip. So it was fun. That was a very good memory.
First road trip. Okay.
Yeah, very good memory. Appudu we went and Kishore, Madhu, inka kontamandi kollu kalsam annamata appudu. So that is అది అయిపోయింది. Masters by end of December that year, I had more than enough material to get my master's degree.
Okay.
That was one thing. My professor, the amount of work that we used to do was so much that if you look at my master's thesis or PhD dissertation, you can actually make two of those. One na master's thesis choste ganka, you can actually make 2 master's thesis out of it. There's so much data.
You already did a lot, because
a lot. Same thing happened with my PhD too. Is there's so much information, so much work that we have done. So now masters.
It's all in the new field, right? By like renewable fuels, and you guys were using different additives to test how. Life.
Right. That's right. Yeah. So diesel additives, matavi. But we were making these diesel additives from vegetable oils.
Vegetable oils. It's just only additives, not like 100% replacement of the diesel, but at least to substitute a little bit of it with using vegetable oils. So maybe your science interest and the biology helped you, I guess, right, to understand this aspect of vegetable oils.
For sure. Endukante naku more than what I've studied in chemical engineering, 4 years, I think I've gained more appreciation of chemical engineering after I joined my masters. And the applications of whatever that we have learned, right? So edo appudante heat transfer, mass transfer, whatever it is, study for the exam, write it, and
theory laga chadutam ante kada.
But as we start applying, that's when I started enjoying it. This is really good. Whatever that we've studied, now we are applying it, and so that was really good. So our project, then there is another project in my masters where we are making biodiesel.
Biodiesel, okay, completely.
Yeah, that is also from vegetable oils, but this is a diesel substitute, right?
Substitute, okay.
Yeah, and these are very new at that time. People didn't know about it at that time.
So it's a lab scale. You were able to produce that oils, like diesel substitute vegetable oils, to test and how it works. All the performance testings in the lab.
C10 improvers anevalamata. C10 improvers. So
C10 improvers.
So that's what. Yes. So those were the two for my master's degree, master's thesis. Those were the two projects that So
you are producing those vegetable oils also, or you're getting like in the lab, or
you're getting it from some place and then converting them into biodiesel. So my part of Aceton Improvers is one project. The second part is to look at different catalysts.
To make these improvers.
Make biodiesel matter. So we were looking at heterogeneous catalysts. So catalysis cost chadvam about kodiga.
So catalysis also is involved. Okay.
Yeah. So it was mostly in the reaction engineering side of things. Reaction engineering catalysis was most of the focus. But for these applications. So then master's degree ayin tarvata, then that is when we have to decide, okay, are you going to go find a job? And then, but that end of 2002, early 2003, the job market was horrible. And we just came out of recession. Y2K issue adantu undedi appudu recession adu undam. Job market was not good. Appude manaki what do you say, September 11th attacks. So the things were not very good. Master's అయిన వెంటనే jobs రావడం అనేది it was very difficult. So that is when I started thinking about PhD.
Okay.
It was not predetermined. ముందే నా PhD.
Yeah, just visa maintain చేయాలి కదా, status, job లేదు.
Yeah. So and then I started learning. Master's research was pretty good. నాకు నచ్చింది. Doing research
was started enjoying all the research and then experiment.
Yeah. ముందు నా thought లేదా, if I knew how research is, I would have probably attempted to go to a PhD, right.
Okay.
Yeah. But I didn't know, right? So ఇక్కడికి వచ్చిన తర్వాత master's research చేసిన తర్వాత then I started enjoying research. And I said, okay, I said, okay, I want to continue to do this research, and so PhD కోసం apply
research
చేశాను.
Is not for everybody, right? But for you started liking it. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So more than what I've learned in my 4 years of engineering, I've actually enjoyed my master's more. That basically primarily the research and development side of things. So that's what led me to my PhD work. I said, okay, let's apply for PhD and see what we can get. So PhD I applied for 2 or 3 universities. PhD in addition to my own university.
Okay.
So just about when I was applying to my university, వేరే యూనివర్సిటీ అప్లై చేసినప్పుడు obviously you have to get letters of recommendation, right?
Letters of recommendation. Again, the process is the same for PhD also, right? Okay.
Yeah. So little I knew. I went and asked my professor for a recommendation letter.
Okay.
This is after probably 6 months or a year, I found out that he did not write a good recommendation letter for me. Not that I'm a bad student or anything, but he said I've already made a commitment for him to do a PhD under him. అని రాశాడంట లెటర్ లో.
So he want you to stay with him without saying that.
Saying it. So how I found out about it is that my university, he moved to a different university as a professor. So నాకు మూవ్ అయినప్పుడు he said, okay, if at all you are interested, apply for this college. Apply చేయమంటే నేను I applied, ended up applying. And I got into that university, but when I talked with him during that time, that's when he told me, ilaga, because he was part of the committee, he saw the recommendation letter.
Yeah.
And said, Mohan, I should not, I didn't want to disclose this before because I'm not supposed to, right? Recommendation letter is supposed to be confidential, right? But this is after I started my PhD program, or 6 months later.
Then it's like you already got into, right? Then you can say.
Yeah. Yeah, 6 months later, then he said, this is what happened. Because I didn't get admissions in other universities. Although I had very good credentials.
You want to go to a different university, right? Because you already saw this university. Maybe you are looking forward to other university. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I realized why I didn't get through to other universities, because the recommendation letter was not very good.
Yeah, the recommendations are really important, right, for the PhDs, or at least in the research field. Your life depends on those, right? Regardless, whatever your professor gives you, that is important. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are the little things we don't know, right? Subtle things, politics, they call it, right, on the back. Right. Yeah.
So he knew me. My professor knew me. He just got his reasoning was that I'm thinking is that he just got a funding for a major project.
So he wants you to stay there.
He wanted me to stay and lead that project.
They don't want to lose you, kind of. Which he could have asked you, said that directly, but it's how people do things, right? They're not direct, honest, or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, again.
But he's ready to give you a PhD. You know that, right? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. He was, and then we had a big project that was that got funded. So he said, "Hey, this is going to be a great project for you," and so I ended up taking it and moving forward. And ఇవంతా స్టార్ట్ చేసిన తర్వాత తెలిసినవి అన్ని స్టోరీస్.
Yeah, you don't know that at that time. This is the only thing you have, and then you just started again. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So this is also in the renewable world, but now this has to do with taking some byproducts of the renewable industry and converting them into something more valuable.
Okay.
Is the theme, I should say. So basically what we were doing is we were taking glycerin, which is a byproduct of biodiesel production.
Biodiesel product, okay.
And then we were converting, the goal was to convert that into propylene glycol.
Propylene glycol, okay.
The propylene glycol is a antifreeze that is used in cars or aeroplanes, like, to de-ice aeroplanes. So there's a huge market for it. So our goal was to take that glycerin, which is a byproduct, and convert that into something more valuable.
Propylene glycol. So they add it as an additive into this lubricant so that it won't freeze it, right? It used to anti-freeze it, or how do they use this?
Not the diesel. So for example, నీ కార్లో windshield fluid ఉంటుంది కదా. Okay. A windshield fluid, obviously when you do an oil change, you don't see it, but you go to a store and get a windshield fluid. Look at the contents of it. It has either propylene glycol or ethylene glycol.
Okay. So it's just an antifreeze in the supplement. They use it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a specialty additive, like specialty chemical, maybe, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that was the project. So it's still within the realm of reaction engineering and catalysis.
This in an alternate route, you need to make that product. Okay.
Yeah.
It needs to be economical and compete with the regular process, right?
Because it's natural. It's made out of petrochemicals.
Yeah.
Now we are trying to find a way to make it from renewable sources.
Renewable ways. Okay.
Yeah. So lot more emphasis on catalysis. So I start getting more into catalysis now, heterogeneous catalysis and all that. And my professor didn't have experience in catalysis.
Okay.
So I was collaborating with another professor in my university, so we ended up getting some patents out of it, some publications out of it.
Because it's a new field, right? There's a lot of potential to get patents and publications. Yeah.
but the same theme kept going. My professor is a very high demanding person. Lot of work that we had to do.
Work, but at least you were able to make it into positive, right, and convert
Yeah.
it to instead of
So I because we gained experience in the same lab, so you have to maintain the lab. You
all
have
the
to
lab supervisory
lab supervision, basically.
also.
Yeah, the lab supervision. That's
so many jobs you have to do it regardless of whatever job you are given. Yeah, everything.
Yeah. So publications, writing publications, patents, proposals, mentoring undergraduates or cut students. Even these are all like part of my job on top of doing your own research. But
will he give you credits like some of the other things that you do, or no? Sometimes they just take it, right? You just do it. No, you don't. Nobody knows that you did it.
Yeah, not really. No, that's not his nature. Yeah. So 2015. So not 2005. So in 2003 May lo start chesana on this project, May or some April maybe. 2 years later. So I was thinking PhD kada it will take 3+ years or 4 years or something like that. 2005, I remember July, end of July or some middle of July, he came to me one day and said, Mohan, I have to apply for my tenureship as a professor. Its application is due middle of October 15th. So I want you to graduate by then.
My goodness. Yeah, that's like
a shock. I was thinking because for him he has to show in the application, he has to show how many people he meant, all that, right? So I was next in the line, and he said, I want you to finish. You have more than enough.
Enough. You can just go ahead.
And I was just little over 2 years into my PhD. And
it's just all about him. Whatever he decides, you just have to go from what is best for him. Okay.
Yeah. And he said, start writing your thesis. And I was not. So I had like 3 months maybe for me to finish my dissertation, wrap up everything. So luckily, one thing that he used to make us do, which was really helpful, was whenever we did any work, lab work, reports rastam kada. He used to make us draft as if we are applying for a publication.
Oh, so he used to make you write and keep it like as a publication.
Yes. Whether we'll publish or not, secondary.
Yeah, okay.
He used to write it like a publication. That was right from the beginning.
Right from the beginning, okay.
That's his mindset. That's how he used to go about it. So I already have a lot of my work written that way.
Was already written in a already
semi. So that helped. But then there's quite a bit of work that I've done which is not written yet. So I spent the next couple of months trying to put all that together. And October 13th is when I went and defended my dissertation. 2 days before his tenureship. I remember because 13th was my sister's birthday. So ROJ in another dissertation got a finish chesana. And the amount of work that was in my dissertation, it was so much, because again goes back to how he used to manage us, right? He used to just work. That's it.
Work. It doesn't matter. He just needs the results to be based on his schedule, right? It seems.
Yes.
If you don't have that tenure thing, he would have made whatever convenient for you, your dissertation, right? It's not like any fixed.
So good.
You guys don't have this. What initially you write PhD. qualifier, right? After first semester, you have to, or second semester, you need to write an exam to prove that you are a PhD candidate, right? You are qualified to do. After that, only after like 2 years into it, I guess you need to defend your, like, the proposal initially that your PhD thesis. After that, you defend. But do you do that in between, or that step was skipped because you have to now defend?
Mark, first qualifier exam undedi.
Okay.
So going from masters to PhD, that's you get a 6-month time period where you have to finish that qualifier exam.
Yeah, exactly.
So I finished that. Adi అయిపోయింది మా అయిన వెంటనే I finished it.
Join ayagaane అయిపోయింది. Yeah.
Within few months I finished that qualifier exam. Then నువ్వు చెప్పినట్టు ఏంటంటే you're defending your proposal.
Proposal defense, you have to do it. You choose your committee and they need to accept whatever topic you choose and you worked on is good, and then you can finish it to get a PhD అనేది. They have to give it to us.
Yeah, మా యూనివర్సిటీలో అలా లేదు.
Okay, that లేదు. అన్ని యూనివర్సిటీస్ లో ఉండదేమో. Some universities do have that.
So
after that ఏంటంటే your professor can't stop you. That helps you at least that you will get somehow your PhD. You won't lose whatever you did, and if you pass that, because
so instead మాకు ఎలా ఉండేదంటే in place of that we used to have అంటే so we are supposed to write a proposal and submit that proposal to organization. Like for example, నేను చేసిన proposal ఏంటంటే I wrote a proposal to NSF. So it's like it's a part of training, if you will.
Part of the training, yeah.
So it should not be linked with your major thesis, major project.
Okay.
Okay, so that was part of our into the qualification process.
Qualification, okay. Some grant you have to write independent to your research. Okay.
Independent to the research, and you can submit it if you think it's worth it. If not, that's okay.
But you need to write it. Okay.
You have to write it, and then you have to go to the committee, your committee, PhD committee, and defend that PhD and show that okay, here is what the proposal is. So it's slightly different than what you are saying. So in your case,
that was our qualifier actually. They give us some topic, independent topic to all of us. So you need to write a written exam and a draft, like a report, and then you present that topic to your committee, and then they pass you. Okay, you are qualified now to start your PhD.
Oh, so the qualifier exam for us is actual core subjects.
Okay, so
have to give exam.
Intermediate step extra ununtundi. I don't know whether.
Yeah, so we had to go and write exams for heat transfer, transport phenomena, all of those.
Four courses you have to pass.
Courses so there's like 2 days of theory exams, so 2 or 3 days span lo. You have to write and answer questions and so forth, and then followed by that you have this thesis proposal that you have to write.
Yes, you have to write it.
And then defend to your committee. So this is
you don't have this proposal defense anedi oka intermediate step lenattundi, because it gives more room to the professors, right, so that they can decide whenever you guys can.
So it was decided. Our project was already decided because that's where he got the funding, right? So project was decided, how I'm going to approach it and all that. So I didn't have to go and defend it again. So not my defense for the qualifier was a different project that I was.
Different project. That's just a qualifier. Yes. I know that.
So NSF submit chesam, it got rejected. That's secondary, but that's how it went about. So na thesis defense అయిపోయింది.
So by 2005 October you defended your PhD then?
Yeah, I only had, it was only 2.5 years, little over 2 years, I should say, less than 2.5 years.
Okay.
Start to end.
Everything so fastest. In one way, it's lucky. Maybe I know that was not an ideal phase that time, right? Because it worked out maybe for your own benefit. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I want to think about it as a positive experience. To your point, it's good that I'm done with it,
because it's not under your control, right? So let's just take
yeah
it
yeah
out of
yeah.
it.
So and na PhD work kuda, like I said, there's so much work that's already
So
done
much
in
work
it.
you already have.
So the professors, my committee was surprised, about the amount of work that was presented to them.
Within the short time, yes.
Short period of time, and so they were. I remember them asking, "How are you able to manage all these things? You're doing all this. You're taking care of the lab, and you're training students,
People.
and all that." Yeah. So it was good experience. And నా డిసర్టేషన్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత మనకి వీసా ఇష్యూస్ ఉంటాయి కదా మనకి, ఆబ్వియస్లీ. You can't you don't want to just go and graduate, right, immediately. So I continued to work with my professor. So నేను submit చేయలేదు dissertation to the graduate school.
Okay.
I waited because I don't have a job.
Okay, but then that is okay for him, like as long as you defended, that counts for his tenure then.
So it's almost like so then he postdoc అనకూడదు, ఎందుకంటే postdoc means that I have to finish my PhD officially, right? So research associate లాగా తీసుకున్నాడు
తర్వాత. Okay.
తీసుకొని then so I was with him for a few months while I was searching for job.
Okay, at least he let you continue in the visa status.
He wanted me to stay back. He wanted me to stay back.
Wants people to do that job and everything with very little money, right? So
postdoc laga unpomani cheppanu anamata. So in the meanwhile I found a job in Colombia lone, a pharmaceutical company lo job dorkindi. And I was ready to move. It was enough for 5 years of work with him, that I'm saying I'm ready to move out. This is too much, right? So a company lo join అయిపోయాను. Join అయిపోయి, it was not something that I was it's not like a dream job.
You just want some job that is available at that time. Yes.
So it was contract manufacturing company.
Contract manufacturing actually is very demanding too, right? Because every time you have to prove in a short contracts to the actual companies, right?
So my role was it was full of chemists, analytical chemists, pharmaceutical kada antana ekko.
So all the analytical chemistry experience you're getting. Okay.
So I was hired to as a like an investigative scientist lagmata. So
analytical investigative scientist.
So when we get a project, I was the one who is supposed to develop methods, analytical methods and all those things, and then hand it over to an analytical team.
Test and then okay.
So still more R&D type of work, but nothing to do with much of chemical engineering. It was more in the chemistry
side. Support and testing, and then providing the data and coordinating.
Yeah. So I knew I'm not going to stay there for long, right from the beginning, and they knew
they don't need right a PhD. Might be a master's. Right.
Well, PhD is okay. There are a lot of PhDs over there, but then not a chemical engineering background.
Kind of,
since I had some of this experience before, HPLC, GC, analytical equipment, and for that reason they took me.
They took you, because you are using those for characterizing your fields, right? Generally, yes.
For me, that was not what I was aiming for. Or our job was.
You don't need that. They do.
Stopgap, more or less for me. So I తీసుకున్నాను. So let me go back to 2005. So చెప్పాను కదా, ఇలాగా మా ప్రొఫెసర్ ఇలాగా డిసర్టేషన్ డిఫెండ్ చెప్పాడు కదా. So immediately my thought is, okay, I have to go get a job or else my visa will expire. So that year, 2005, my research, we got an award. I got an award for my research AOCS అని చెప్పేసి ఒక ఆర్గనైజేషన్ ఉంది. అమెరికన్ ఆయిల్ కెమిస్ట్ సొసైటీ అని చెప్పేసి ఒక ఆర్గనైజేషన్ ఉంది. For whatever we do, whatever the research that we do, right? Renewable
world. Okay.
Yeah. So akkada because of for my research work, I've gotten 2 awards. One is called as Honored Student Award.
Okay.
And then Glycerin Innovation Award. Ani 2 awards ఇచ్చారన్నమాట. So I was qualified for those and got that award in 2005. This is just about the time where my professor was telling me, okay, you have to hurry up and defend.
Yeah. He don't know that you guys are not expecting all these awards. It just happened
because we submit చేస్తాం కదా.
Paper submission, yeah.
So దాన్ని బట్టి they will choose these awards.
But you are just submitting routine
papers. Presentations submit చేస్తాం కదా అలా. So my research was chosen for that because అప్పటికి మాకు ఆల్రెడీ ప్యాటర్న్స్ వచ్చి ఉన్నాయి. సో వచ్చాయా లేదంటే అప్లై చేసాం ప్యాటర్న్స్ అనుకుంటా.
As long as it's like patent application is filed, it's okay, right? Provisional.
Yeah. So it was a breakthrough research and from whatever that we've done. So అది రావడం okay, it's all serendipity, right? So everything happens for a reason ani.
Yeah.
I remember going to this place, so Salt Lake City lo in conference. We all went there. I went there to receive my award.
Okay.
And I remember my picture was on this big screen at that time.
It was a big thing, right? Coming from the small lab and doing all that stuff.
And the person who was giving me this award was also an Indian.
Okay.
ధర్మ కొడాలి అని అతను తెలుగు అతను.
Okay.
He was the chairman for that division who was giving the award. So he was giving. So award తీసుకున్న తర్వాత I introduced myself and we were chatting a little bit and he introduced me to some other Indian guy. It's a North Indian person, Madhu Kakade ani atanu. Much older person, like he's probably in 70s maybe at that time. So we exchanged our business cards and all that, and I said, stay in touch. That's it. And we
just a very short term,
short.
Yeah.
And because of that award is why they were, at least I had some reason to go and talk to them.
Yeah.
And Indian desi feeling untar kada. So వెళ్ళి మాట్లాడాం. And that once I finished my defense in October, I emailed this person Madhu Kakade ani atanu.
Because you were able to get that exchange, right? Network.
Yeah, I emailed him and said I finished my defense thesis. I'm looking for a job. Do you have any recommend చేయగలవా అని చెప్పి అడిగాను.
Okay.
అడిగితే he forwarded my resume to a person in Iowa.
Okay.
His client. He was doing consulting at that time. So he forwarded my resume, and middle of November 2005 or December sometime, I got a chance to come here and interview for this company, Feed Energy.